Okay, well, for some reason my great, so we'll have to go off the MacBook mic. Huh, that's weird. I think the wire on this is messed up. All right, well, markets are off to a green start. I'm looking to short Tesla, possibly at 270, currently at 267.75. Also looking into Apple, I think that could be a decent opportunity ahead of their earnings as well. That would be obviously a little bit more of a swing trade, whereas Tesla, I'm thinking a day trade at the 270 level. Looks like my computer's freezing up on me. Oh man, this is no bueno. Okay, I'm gonna have to re-log into Thinkorswim because it froze 30 seconds before market opened. Why shorting Tesla? Just based on the levels at 270. Yesterday that was a resistance, so I'm assuming probably gonna happen today too. Let's see. Oh man, Thinkorswim is not doing anything right now. Fun stuff. Okay. Let me cut my display right quick so I can get my password. Not being patient enough. Yeah, I ended up losing out on some gains too. Still made profit like $100, but definitely could have had a lot more. Because I was waiting on the 264 fill to fill in that gap from a couple of months ago at this point, I think. Probably a month ago. But I ended up taking profits when it hit 270 and my option was in the money, so could have made a bit more, but did not have the patience for that play. Okay. Back into the charts. We don't have the right setup. There we go. Here we go. Don't have the right styles or anything. They are. All right, yeah, Tesla pulling back right now at 265 from 267. So couldn't quite get that entry. Looks like Amazon's pulling back to 130 right now. Why does this have to? Okay. That 260 put I was looking for is going for 130 right now and popping off. Why does it have to give me all of my notifications at one time? Okay, well, in the meantime, let's look around the markets. Yeah, it looks like first thing we pulled back from 268 for Tesla. I was thinking about going the 250 strike next week. Or going on Apple, assuming that they're going to come down for their earnings as well. Apple did really well. Even yesterday, they were the one that was down the least. So I think there could be a short opportunity in Apple here at 195. Let's check the options chain for today and next week. See if there's anything that might signal a reversal at 195. Okay, so the 195 strike, looking at open interest volume. Drops pretty steep for volume, but the open interest is actually just about 10% higher for the 197. So it actually could go past the 195 mark from the looks of it right now. Price action's going its way. Options still pretty heavy for the 197. So I think that might actually end up going above 195 today. So we'll avoid it maybe till later in the day. Try to find another entry in the meantime. I think Amazon could be a bounce at 19 or 130. Can't imagine there's too many puts. Yeah, there's pretty small amount of puts below the 130 level. We ended up finding a low at 130 this morning. And that was yesterday's close just about. So we'll set a range in here for a day trade on Amazon at the 130 level. Edit this to go to the right a little bit further. Probably go with next week's expiration so we don't have to deal with the time decay. If we can go out of the money for cheaper options. Not really liking what I see though at the 130 level. With the drop in open interest like 90%. That does concern me and probably means that we could end up pinning to 130 instead of going up from it. Unless we hold this trade over the weekend, that could be a possibility. So, looks like either long Amazon or short Tesla for a day trade today, I'm thinking. But short on Tesla already worked out pretty well. Again, I still think it could hit 250 next week. 728 expiration. These are going for 235. They're not too expensive if it does end up continuing its fall from yesterday. And that 133 call on Amazon currently going for 200, 190 a piece. What I don't like is the risk reward on the Tesla. Just in case we do kind of either trade flat or go up, you would need to break that 260 level, and we already went all the way as high as 268 this morning. So unless we just have a really big crash the first like 30 minutes, not sure if that'll pay off for us. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Stream is a mess today. Okay. People buying into the 250 puts for Tesla next week now. A lot of volume coming into that 1 minute candle. Lots of demand. I might get one just in case. This is a flyer today. And then Amazon, that call option is getting cheap at 185, lowest at 155. And there's so much volume coming into these Tesla puts. All right, Amazon pulling back here, back to the lows that we need for the call. We'll cut our losses under 129.33 and hopefully try to enter at 130 is ideal. Okay. All right, these contracts going for 170, still about 30 cents or about $1 higher than where we need, where we have our stop loss. Okay. Coming into our entry zone. And I think this one could actually either go either way. Just based on the volume and the open interest at the 130 strike price. This could end up trading flat in this range, but I think I'm willing to take on the risk of that. Going with next week's expiration and giving it that extra time that we need. All right, these are going for 170 a piece, 165, 162. I think that's probably our best entry price. 162, 161 maybe. There we go, 162 fill. $133 call, expiring 7/28. 162 price. All right, so liking what I see with that support right at 130. Those Tesla puts still doing pretty hot right now. Lots of volume still going into them, surprisingly. So probably seeing Tesla coming down. Down 0.15% to 262.5. Netflix currently at 437, down 0.05, kind of break even. So if we see these two names kind of catching some rebound, that should help the Amazon play, but right now, not moving first thing. Apple is pulling back from that 195 level. Thought it could break through based on the open interest and the volume, but did not get that follow through there. All right, here we go with Amazon at 130.5 almost. Contracts are up 6% so far. Not too much yet. But looks like we have a double bottom so far. RSI is oversold, so it's not looking too pretty in terms of strength, I would say. But I do like the double bottom formation so far. Good morning, Peter. Let's see. Hopefully the stream is, yeah. Should be good now. Good morning. so we're risking about $1 of downside at the moment, and hopefully we get more than $1 of upside and we can recover back to where we started, which was 131.44. So I'm gonna watch the open price for a possible exit if we want to make this a day trade. Currently up 10% for the position. Trading at 175, we got him for 162, I think it was. Almost back to 131 almost. Pretty quick reversal to the upside, which is looking good. Hopefully we don't reverse back to the downside at 131 and trade flat, but that's another possibility for us. Let's see, these contracts going for 180 a piece right now. Pulling back from the 131 mark. And now they're trading at 170. Yeah, so swift pullback from 131 back down. So probably just going to chop in this range for a bit, would be my guess here. Seeing Tesla at 263, slightly in the positive right now. But usually I feel like on Fridays we kind of slow down. So we'll see. My guess we chop around for Amazon here. Probably could have taken profits at the 131 mark. Good morning, Steph. Got 3 names in the red now. Netflix actually down 9%, or 0.9%, I should say. Decent drop there. Amazon trading at that right at that 130 level. At the lows from the morning. Let's see where Q's is standing. Haven't checked that actually. QQQ currently trading at 378, getting rejected at 380. 375 I think is the max pain point for today. So if the market makers want to do the most damage, they send us down another $3 from right now, about 1%. Google and Meta have earnings next week. Will I be trading those two names? I actually think Google is a decent long position. I'm not sure about earnings per se, but I think like long term, Google is one of the most undervalued in terms of like artificial intelligence names. I feel like it's kind of slept on. So Google, I think, could maybe end up headed higher after their earnings possibly. And then for Meta, that one's had a pretty good run up compared to Google. Like it's gone up, tripled in price since its lows, whereas Google, it's about 50% higher. So I think that there's more opportunity for upside in Google than there is for Meta. So that's how I would probably position myself, to the downside for Meta, upside for Google. That way you have, a little bit of hedging going on too that'll help you out just in case, one goes the wrong way. Or you could be wrong on both and lose both. But I think that would be a risk I'm willing to take. All right, Amazon back to 130.5. Tesla must be recovering a little bit. Yep, back in the green. So we're just seeing back and forth on Tesla right now. Very volatile back and forth. 262 to 264 right now, trading in a range like everything else. Kind of thinking about taking a bearish position for QQQ for the day too. Assuming we could slip back down to the lows yesterday at 375 and that max pain point. Probably wouldn't want to put a lot of money on the trade just because we are so far away. 1% would be a pretty hard fall. But those puts are going for 40 cents right now, 42 cents. So not too bad. Could be a way to protect ourselves in case Amazon keeps on coming down too. For QQQ, today's expiration, 375 puts. That's next week's expiration. Here we go. So this is the max pain point for today, where markets are likely to close if the market maker wants to inflict the most amount of damage and make sure the most amount of options end up going to zero. They went as low as 20 cents, currently at 43, so they've doubled in price already. And right now you're paying 45 cents a piece. 42 cents. All right. I think I got in at 41. It'll look like. And that one expires today, expiring 7/21. Amazon catching some support again, right at that 130 level. Right where we entered this trade or close to it. So we're just breaking even for those contracts right now. Let's watch out for QQQ where it might bounce. There's some support right below us from yesterday's trading. Alright, I also want to set an alert for if this goes lower. At 129.30, I want to cut losses there. Right under 130 right now for Amazon too. Decent amount of volume coming into these 270 or 375 plus for Qs too. Obviously we want to be out in a pretty quick manner with these being 0 data expirations. Not liking what we see from Amazon right now in this range. Unless we want to add another to the position. Currently going for 148, original entry at 161, so we're getting a little bit cheaper. Not crazy cheaper, but those contracts just went to 45, 46 before pulling back the Qs. Seeing Tesla sliding to 261 now. So that's good for Qs coming down, and Netflix down 1.5%. So the two trades that were really bad yesterday continuing their downtrend. Should drag the Qs down. I'm gonna make another entry on Amazon here for the 145. Added another Amazon 133 call, expiring 7/28 at 145. All right, getting a little bit of pop for these Q trades, currently up to 47 cents a piece. Getting lower on Amazon into this range. These are slowly ticking higher on the 1 minute chart. Can we see 275 for Tesla today? That I wouldn't think so. I think we're more likely to see 250 today than we are to see 275. All right, my puts are going crazy. 50 cents piece. 52 maybe. All right. And with that, I am out of here. $0.55. Please close me out. Thank you. Yep. Nice little trade there. Still got the Amazon puts. Probably gonna have to close. And Amazon just broke down. We're seeing it at the trading at the bottom of a range for Amazon. Might take on a put for Tesla too with this downtrend. It's right at the 260 level, which could accelerate the downside. Oh man, those puts are actually pretty damn expensive for next week. $330 a piece. $350 a piece. All right, we'll try to get them at 340, but that's the bid now. $250 put for next week. Down to 259 right now, dropping. We'll add that to the left over here. And I think, yeah, that Amazon trade is toast. Looks like. Save ourselves from that. Oh man, they just keep dropping the bid on it. 1.2. All right, got out of 122. Well outside of our range now, so don't think that one's gonna work for us. We got Tesla under 260, new low at 258.88. Let's go pull up our 250 puts next week's expiration, see where they're trading. Right now at 330. Went as high as 365. Let's check the options for today's expiration, 0 days. 260 puts, I'm sure, are very popular. 60,000 volume, 35,000 open interest. It does drop down pretty steep, which I'm not really a big fan of. And the 250s aren't that popular for today. Let's see, 38,000 there. And open interest, 9,000 volume. For next week, I'm sure they're more popular. Just so it has enough time for that to play. Yeah, 14,000 volume, 9,000 open interest. So similar open interest, higher volume for next week's expiration. Trading right at that 260 mark too. Definitely bearish, you're trading under 30 RSI, so extreme weakness. With a low at 258.88 so far. See if we have any resistance in this area. Not really much structure at 260 besides the after hour trading, which I wouldn't go by. Let's pull up maybe the hourly chart. Hourly chart definitely looking bearish. You're trading at 28 on the RSI. So extreme weakness for the hourly 5 minutes. So trend is definitely bearish where we might catch support. Let's check. 'Cause 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 a good trading area right around here. Down to 254 it looks like. Okay, extended that to the right. So now we have take profit area down here. Still well below where we're trading, but hopefully we come down to about 257, 258, and then probably gonna watch 264 or 265 to the upside. Why don't I trade commodities? Commodities have been kind of weird lately. Like, usually commodities move inverse the dollar, but they haven't had that same correlation as usual. Like, you'll see gold and the dollar rising at the same time, which shouldn't really happen. Or you'll see them falling at the same time. So I think that right now, commodities market's just kind of mixed up. Let's see, GLD, and then using the Dixie DXY. Yeah, so dollar has been on the rise for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days now. Whereas the dollar, or gold, has actually moved up pretty well and kind of held for that same time period. Apple's still trading at 194. Definitely peaked at 195 earlier. Wish we had taken that trade, but I didn't think that would play through. Yeah, nice little recovery on Tesla this last 5 minutes. Went just a little bit above 262 right now. Still bearish, but less so at 37 on the RSI. Let's pull up maybe the 15-minute candles, see how this is trading here too. First 3 15-minute candles, pretty bearish, but this one almost making its way back in the green. I'm glad we cut those Amazon trades. Amazon headed lower too, currently at 129. So well outside of our stop loss zone. Okay. Yeah, so Tesla's still coming down. Weakness on the 15-minute chart at 37 on the RSI. Going from 60 at the start of the day to 30. So that was a pretty quick change in sentiment in the first 4 minutes, or first 4 15-minute candles. Still, you want to see it well below 260, and now you want to see it under the previous lows at 258.88. And my ideal target is going to be at 257.50 maybe, looks like. And then if it's real crazy, then we see 254. But that's $7 from where we're trading right now, which would be like 3% further for the day. Okay. 240.80. All right. Kind of stuck at 261 for Tesla right now. I would think that Nvidia would pull back a little bit more if we're kind of worried about earnings coming in and sending all these big tech stocks down. Nvidia would actually be weighed down the most from that, I would think, just given the parabolic rise that they saw after their last earnings. And the squeeze that they saw all the way to 480. Like the past month, they went up 20%. So I think it's rational to think that Nvidia would probably be one of the worst performers for the earnings. What I would like to see before earnings is like a profit warning, but obviously you can't know that until it happens. But if they end up guiding down, that would cause a pretty sharp drop in their share price before. I'm curious what implied volatility looks like compared to past earnings, especially now with the first big ones out of the way. Where do we stand? Yeah, implied volatility actually jumped pretty high after 712. Last earnings, it was way higher. Why aren't we seeing the full chart? There we go. The earnings before that, way higher. Earnings before that, even higher. And earnings before that. So this is the lowest implied volatility that we've seen for Nvidia ahead of an earnings report for the past 4 quarters. So that means that options on it are pretty damn cheap. If it does end up dropping, I don't know if it would fill in the gap like Tesla did down to 264. But if it does, that's all the way down to 365 at the top of the gap and 313 at the bottom of the gap. I feel like that's a bit too much to ask for either of those numbers. maybe a 400 put, I think would be reasonable, but even that's 50 points out of the money. You're asking for more than 10%, like 12%. When is their next earnings too? That'll be another. So it's all the way in August 23rd. Long time away. So they have a lot of time to build the implied volatility before. Another way you could trade this too, double diagonal. The way you'd set that up, set a shorter expiration date, sell the options that you think that the stock price could touch. So maybe like 400, I don't know, 470 for the call. And then you set your expiration date longer, 1 week longer or whatever. And then buy. Let's see. Buy one strike price out of the money. But they're not until August, so there's a long time to wait on that. Let's see, it's estimated for 8/23. We don't have a set date in place for it. But say we set the September expiration, the weeklies, buy the 400s, they're going for $1,230. So your break even is like 390, 388, which is pretty wild. I don't think I would want to take that. Not right now, at least. All right, Tesla back down to 260, kind of floating around between 260 and 260 and a half right now. Breaking below the 260 mark again. We'll see if we can keep on headed down. Looks like a pretty sharp reversal for the last 15 minutes. Retesting those lows almost at 258.88, 50 cents off. And it looks like Q's is pulling back from the look of these puts. Let's see, QQQ currently trading for 377. Not too far off of yesterday's close. Just a couple more dollars. Or a dollar and change, actually. All right, Tesla, let's see the new lows if we can breach 30 cents lower, 20 cents lower. We're right at 259. Just hit the low. Following through. RSI is oversold. And again, I would like to see 257, 40 or 50 to take profits with. So another dollar drop, which should give these contracts another 30 cents, put them in about 400-ish, maybe a little bit less. Those Q puts popping off again, 60 cents. Still bearish on Tesla? Yes. So what I'm going based off of just kind of a continuation on the move to the downside. We ended up filling the gap at 264. People are seemingly piling into the puts. Let's see, the 250 strike price today should be picking up. Yeah, 13,000 in volume for a 0 day. That's like 9 points out of the money. Is a lot of volume. 40,000 in open interest. We broke past the 260 level, so that could accelerate the squeeze to the downside. Since there's a lot more puts down here than there is calls, there's not going to be much competition to try to keep this up, is my guess. Yeah, I can make a video talking about my setup. I can also provide the link for it too, if that would be easier. Let's see, share my workspace. Should be able to plug that in. All right, 258, here we come into the 257s. Fingers crossed if we do. Contracts right now are up 10%. A little $30. Right at 258 on the nose. All right, we're at my take profit mark. We're close to. Contracts aren't going for what I would like them, but that's okay. We'll have to take what we can get. They just dropped the bid. I wish I had opened multiple of these contracts, but did not. There we go. Out for that trade at $50 profit. Currently going for 400, so let him go a little bit early. But I think this is probably going to act as support right here between 257.50 and 254. I wouldn't want to hold into that range. Man, those contracts for Qs popping off. 80 cents now. Let's see where Qs is at. Qs should be trading close to 375 with these contracts going for almost $1 each. Yeah, trading at 376. Amazon headed lower well past the stop loss, and it actually retested the stop loss before coming back. So that could have been a decent entry for a put, but didn't snag it. Tesla's still coming down to 256 now. 256.50, right in the middle of a range. Very nice downside though. Rejected at 262. So now we could play the upside, maybe back to the 260 mark. I would be a little bit more conservative though and say 259. $2 up or $3 down. So risk reward is not good for that trade. Unless we're lower at like 256, then I might take it. That way we get $3 of upside, $2 of downside. I at least get 1.5 to 1 risk reward, or 1.5 to 1 reward risk. Microsoft's still in the green and Apple is still in the green today. It's pretty shocking that these two are still holding up. And Apple really didn't drop yesterday with Tesla and Netflix earnings. So I think this is probably creating the best short opportunity in the market. Their earnings is still a couple weeks out, 8/3 so you're going to August 4th for your expiration for that. You buy the 190 puts going for 295 right now. Let's see if they're increasing the premiums on these with the possibility of implied volatility and climbing. No, not really. Let's see. The highest they went yesterday was 322, currently at 290. So they've actually dropped 10% from yesterday. I think Apple went as low as 192.5, yeah. The very lowest point. So again, the expiration for that one is pretty far out. But if we get more tech names reporting bad earnings next week, I think that could spike that implied volatility from where it's trading, which has been pretty low across the board. If you're looking at any tech stock ahead of earnings, most of the time, or every quarter for the past year has had higher implied volatility than what we have now. But yeah, August 4th expiration. I think in the 190 put, that means my break even is all the way down at that would be 187. We already filled in this gap here at 190. We really don't have much structure though. Like this push to the upside has been non-stop, basically. So it's hard to find any support or resistance levels. Maybe here. From the daily chart. From 188 to 184. We'll extend that all the way out here. And this will be a swing trade, obviously. And then cutting losses. Say at 195. Up to 196.5. And it's starting to get bearish on the hourly chart, 44 on the RSI. Open interest is about the same for the 190 puts and calls at 12,000 and 10,000. This week's expiration, July 21st. Seeing more put positioning at the 190, but the 190 calls are in the money, so that makes sense. But yeah, I really think that this could be a decent opportunity for downside. Obviously would have wanted the entry at 195 when these were trading at 230 instead of 290. Feels a little bit late, but we are still weeks ahead of this earnings report. Alright, I'll put in my entry for 295 here. Not getting 295 for it. I'll have to pay the extra $2. All right. $297 entry. Etsy and BA Boeing. Let's see. Wow, Etsy's been popping. A lot of volume this morning. Let's see if there's news is that UBS is increasing. Oh no, lowering their price target. I'm not seeing any specific news on Etsy for it to be up as much as it is 6% today. Strange. And it's up from 80 in the past month. So very high heading into earnings on 8/2, which is again like 2-3 weeks away, like Apple. But not nearly trading as close to 52-week highs. Right, so this one, implied volatility is elevated. It's not as elevated as it usually is, but I think this one I would probably take a spread positioning rather than a long call or a long put. Definitely looking bullish from the daily chart. Bullish obviously on the hourly chart with the trading at the monthly highs from 80. So lots of movement to the upside. I'm just not sure why there's so much volume compared to usual. So you're probably paying more for the options now, and you might be able to wait for volume to die down and maybe get them at a cheaper price if implied volatility is lower. Am I feeling short for Qs? I did have a short position earlier, exited that prematurely. But I think that Qs today might manage down to 375 and hold that level. That will be the max pain for today, and it is the monthly expiration, so lots of options that are expiring today. So I think most likely we do come down another $1.50 or so, and then just kind of hang around 375 would be my guess. But yeah, like I said, I want to watch out for if Apple goes above 195, at or above, and then at or below, all the way down at 187. So either $2 to the upside, or what is that, $6 to the downside? Lost Tesla put credit spreads, don't fight the trend. Yeah, the trend is definitely not looking good today. If you were to fight the trend, I think now would be the time to do it. Or like I said earlier, at that 256 level, we didn't make that entry, but right in the middle of this little box from 254 to 257.50, I think is a decent entry for a long position. But then you'd want to cut losses if it's below 254. Alright. Apple's still trading at 193, not moving much from our entry. Nvidia's headed lower under 450, so you could get some selling here from options. 450 call is pretty popular, but the 450 put's way more popular. Twice as many in volume. Open interest is a little bit lower. And even the 440s have some volume to them, 16,000. For today's expiration, that's pretty surprising. Trading for 80 cents, high at 97. Probably going to decay pretty quickly though, unless you just get this sharp pullback under 445 and drop super quick. Microsoft could have some support pretty soon too, at about 345 to 343. Currently at 347, so still a little bit off of it. Amazon back into this range could create another short opportunity. Again, that 130 level could go either way. The puts and calls are pretty similar. The volume is actually higher on the calls for August 4th for today's expiration. A little bit more calls, 21,000, 17,000 in puts. And a little bit more in open interest, 28,000 versus 22,000 in puts. So a little bit more bullish positioning at 130 for Amazon. Looks like Apple's bouncing a bit back into the green. Finding a low at 120 or 192.90. For a day trade, I would probably want to watch the 193.50 to 194 level. Bear day today, I think it's gonna be pretty flat or down. Again, my assumption QQQ is closer to 375. Right now it's at 377, so still a decent chance that we could come down, I think. But we are seeing a reversal in Apple, Netflix, or sorry, Apple, Tesla, Netflix not so much yet. And Nvidia really popping off that 446 to the upside there. Yeah, we're seeing a recovery for a few names. Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon. Wow, that went real quick. Maybe we could re-enter a long position. Cut losses at 129.30. Pretty sparse volume on these. Oh, that's 8.4. Oh, 7.21. 28 expiration. There we go. Yeah, trading at 150 a piece. Probably would want to cut losses at 130, 120, and take profits maybe about $1.30 higher when they were trading for, I would say 190. All right, going for 150 right now. Okay. Luckily, that Apple trade's not doing much, even with that recovery to the upside. Let's check Tesla right quick. Again, I wanted to take a long position in that zone. Assuming to 259, it looks like that played out. And now reversing right under 260 again. So the momentum is still down. Looking at lower lows, lower highs. Probably a decent trend line that it actually ended up breaking to the upside for a brief moment. And still bearish on the 15-minute time frame, looking at 36 RSI. Went all the way as low as 24. So a half decent recovery, but I don't know if we'll get the follow through above 260. Looks like Amazon's chilling with that 130 level. Yeah, I think overall trend is still bearish today for most of the big tech names. Tried to go higher at 357.50, but pulled back about $1. It's a lot more volatile than usual, I would say. Let's check the VIX. That's doing, no, VIX is still down 3% today, 1360. So SPY probably isn't moving. Probably not seeing a lot of people buying into longer dated puts anyway. But SPY at 453, went as low as 452. You're seeing some upside from, let's see, the Dow Jones. I think healthcare was really hot yesterday. Pfizer, yeah, that ended up popping 36 to 37 now. I wonder how Thermo is doing. That's one of my old positions. 550, so basically right in the middle of the range that it's been in. But healthcare kind of catching a bid lately. Right before earnings for Thermo on 7/26 next week. Now, I don't know if it'll go to 52-week highs at 600. That would be a bit of a stretch, but I would probably want to do a put credit spread for this at 540. Down to like 5. Probably support 540 to 515 or so. If we can make a day trade out of Apple, I don't think we will. We want to see it under the lows at 192.5. And these were going for 320 back then. It's not really that much higher than where we bought them. Not a lot of change happening here. So I think we'll just have to sit on it, give it time. Make it a swing trade most likely. But yeah, I think that'll be all the trades I make today. Again, my assumption, Q's probably going to head lower to about 375. Probably chill in that range. Probably 374 to 376. Make sure that most of the options that have been bought for the past month are going to expire worthless. Get our max pain. There's a decent amount of positioning for the 370 puts, but I don't think that we'll get there with this slow start that we've had this morning. If we had a day like yesterday where we just started selling off basically right away, then I would say 370 would be in the cards. But today, 375 would be my guess. But yeah, that is it from me, and I'll catch y'all Monday at 9:30. See you, everybody.